The World Economic Forum estimates that 15 to 20 million young people will join the African workforce every year for the next 2 decades. By 2030, Africa will be home to more than a quarter of the world's population under 25, who will make up 60% of the continent's total population. On the other hand, the continent's economic prosperity and social stability will be inextricably linked to what becomes of these young people.
And so I basically went through the university system, and there was nothing like internships. In fact, it was not part of the school curriculum. And so everything that I learned in industry was after I graduated. And this is where, when I founded DTI, I realized there was a big problem with the university curriculum, and there was a huge gap between academia and the world of work. And so this is where, in trying to kickstart and close this gap, there is a concerted effort for industries to open up their factory floors, for companies to open up their spaces to allow young people to intern. And this is where, to the average person who is interning, don't think that you're being used. You don't have a choice, because without you gaining competencies, there's no opportunity out there for you. And so the future of work for me, somebody who works in industry, is the need to then embed work experience learning as part of the curriculum from day one. How do we begin to transition young people right from day one?
Back in the day, we didn't respect what we used to call apprenticeship. But today we realize that without apprenticeship, of course now we call it internship. But those days it was when you didn't do well in school, or they would say, oh, you are not so smart. Then you go and be an apprentice in somebody's workshop. But that is the actual skill that you need to be able to be relevant today.
The purpose or the intent of this internship is, we know there's a gap between what happens sometimes in the universities, that is exposing them to equipment, exposing them to the practical nature of industry and what happens in industry. And so my boss, Madam Constance Swanika, who went through the same system, has always been passionate about bringing reality to the curriculum that students go through in the vocational system or the vocational environment. And that is what birthed the summer program.
For us at CAD, we are excited specifically because of 2 things. We have a need, and academia also realized there's a need. And we have come to agree that, how do we bridge this gap? And for us, that's why we think it's really an exciting time for us. So we open our doors to students and to lecturers as well. Everybody needs upgrading. We've all come to accept that. And that's why I'm very excited. Once academia has also taken on the challenge, we are also ready, and I believe that if most of us in industry also take this challenge on, it will go a long way to help the nation as a whole. Because if we don't open our doors to these students and lecturers, how are they going to be able to train the students that we expect to be able to fill middle management? It's just not there. And the schools do not have the modern equipment and technology to be able to train the students to the skill we would want them to. So it's important that we all partner these institutions to be able to get the right students and to fill middle management, because at the end of the day, cost of production is very high. Because for us, for instance, we have to hire people from outside Ghana, and it's expensive. You pay housing, expatriate fees, all kinds of costs involved. So it raises the cost of production. So if we have people here and they have the necessary skills to be able to deliver the same job, why would we be spending so much on expatriate fees and raising our cost of production. So at the end of the day, it benefits everybody. And we can also in turn begin to export skills, just like other countries are doing.
We are grateful for the opportunities that our students have gotten. Most of our curricula preserve a whole semester for internship. The idea is for our students to be able to learn from industry giants and also become creative and meet the standards that the precision quality requires. As a university and to all technical universities, I believe we can collaborate with industry to be able to resolve the unemployment challenges that this country faces.
So in the last 12 years, we've offered internship opportunities to students for about 7 to 10 technical universities and traditional universities across Ghana. But 2 years ago, when we partnered with the MasterCard Foundation under the Young Africa Works initiative, it allowed us to really formalize the internship program that we're running. And we termed it the Summer Precision Internship Program. So with this, we're able to sign MOUs with a lot more technical universities to offer even more opportunities to young people to go through the summer program. In the last 12 years, I would say thousands of young people have come through this program. We have some really amazing case studies of young people who set up their own businesses, young people who are working on high paying jobs. So we're only really excited with what this partnership would enable us to do. I see Africa as a continent that in a few years' time, when you look at aging European economies, Africa then, beginning to export high quality talent to the rest of the world. After all, we are the youngest continent. And so how do we look at this opportunity of what this really looks like? It's not all doom for me, but it's really looking at the opportunities that really exist and what it would take to really kickstart that.
Just before university, I was adamant and Accents and Art took me on board. So even before going to university, I'd had that internship experience where I was like, okay, this is what this is. It's hard work, and I'm very appreciative to Constance, to my parents, because it wasn't a sugar-coated situation. You go in the first time and you think that you'd be pampered or no, it was straight into the bullpen with the wolves, get your hands dirty, get cut the first time, that kind of situation. That's when I decided that, I would be coming back every long vacation. I'd be in the studio, and I decided very early on that I was going to learn as much as possible across spectrums. So that was one of the benefits of Accents and Art. They had everything underneath one roof. As the years went along, each vacation you would get more immersed, and there were opportunities to also interact and interface with clients. So you get to learn what they want, and a certain level of professionalism comes into the conversation. That kind of conversation, you don't get exposed to that conversation whilst you're in school. It's on the job training, and you get a lot of feedback from customers and clients, because you go to the house, you do installation. There's a certain kind of finesse that is required to be able to satisfy expectations. But I learned all of that on the job. It's not something that I went to school for.
It's absolutely very important as well that to understand that when we're training a workforce to work in industry is very particular about the sort of standards that it sets. Again, when you talk about high quality, there is a standard. And so in training our young people and training master craftsmen to enter the world of work, or to be able to access where high quality, dignified jobs would be, then that means that we're training the workforce to meet these standards. And so this is where the role of our Ghana Standards Board then would come in, or our Council and Technical Vocational Regulator would come in to ensure that we're setting those benchmark standards, or also working at what would then also look at international standards And I think this is also a very strong signal that with the signing of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, if we're going to be exchanging goods and services amongst ourselves, then what would be that standard that we can all then agree to would then be an African standard. An African standard meaning that this is also then plugged into a global standard, a globally accepted standard. And so I think that this is very, very important that in everything that we do, we must understand that we're training our workforce to be able to work at those standards as well.
The internship really helped me to get a clear picture of my aspirations in life. Before, my parents wanted me to be an army officer, a soldier, of course, but with DTI in my life now, I think I'll be able to work on my career, and I can see myself being a great person in the future, and this is the future.
This experience is something that is very new for us, and we'll keep challenging ourselves to go further and push our limits.
What I've learned during the internship program with DTI was how to manage time. This has made me more productive.
Yeah, as an engineer, I don't know how to work and also take measurements and cut and grind, but through DTI Accent and Art, we taught that.
My experience here was a very, very educative one and exposing one. By coming here, I've learned a lot of things from DTI, and besides things we do here, most of them are not done in the school. And I've learned how to equally operate on my own and manage my own time as well.
My best moment was when my team and I developed a creeper and toolbox for mechanic to save time when working alone in the workshop.
Also very grateful for giving us this opportunity to exhibit our talents. Thank you, DTI. Thank you, Madam Swanika.
My experience here has been amazing.
In fact, it's been a very great and amazing internship ever.
Throughout our experience in DTI, my favorite part was when they gave us lunch. We were not expecting it, but that very afternoon, 2 days, they gave us lunch, and I like that very much.
DTI is a place that we all come and learn and achieve our goal.
My experience here have been educating.
Coming to DTI was a surprise to me. I never knew the environment would be like this. In fact, DTI is fantastic. It's a place to be. I love DTI. It has taught me a whole lot. Education and life, entrepreneur, things that I've never thought of. I'm going higher.
Investing in fundamental skills for all is a win-win approach that would allow Africans to enhance productivity growth, promote greater inclusion, and ensure the adaptability of the workforce to the markets of the future.